In the news, quickly, I just want to mention a few things here that you might want to take note of. First of all, I mentioned there that the spring and summer buying season is in full swing. Pending home sales are up 1.4%. This is the highest level, not like in a zillion years, but since last May. So certainly because of that, we know that things are starting to pick up. The spring summer buying season is happening. For those of you who are rehabbers, you probably see a little bit extra activity when you list your houses. Instead of 3 or 4 offers in the first week, you get 8 or 9. Most of us are used to selling our homes quickly, but certainly the buyers are out there in full force. Existing home sales this last month were also up 5.1%, so something to keep in mind. Jobless claims, this is just something we always want to continue to pay attention to, how the overall economy is working and doing. Initial jobless claims are at the lowest level since November 24th of 1973, okay? Anytime something is as low as it's ever been since before I was born, I usually kind of take notice of it, so that's certainly a good statistic. It is a much more stable labor market. We obviously know there are some financial headwinds out there. I think that might be a good thing because though the labor market's stabilizing, we're not booming and getting out of control like we did back in 05 through 07. But as many of you know, there are some oil price issues, low GDP, some global slowdowns to pay attention to. But overall here in the U.S., it seems like things are pretty stable, and I think we're going to be good to go. Again, I just give me just straight line, slow appreciation. This crazy peaks and valleys, highs and lows thing we really want to avoid as investors. And then the last one here, more reasons to focus on entry-level homes. If you've been around us for too long, you know, and some of you guys have done very, very well on high-end homes. Obviously, Jeremy did very well on his high-end home, and Tom has done some high-end homes and done very, very well. But I would much rather, as an investor, do $300,000 houses than one $300,000 house. Just because if the market were to go down, it's a lot easier to rent those homes. Or, you always have way more buyers in the affordable price range. And there's been some more news here lately why certainly as a beginning investor, and probably even as an experienced investor, you want to focus a little bit more on staying in the price point where they would be considered workforce housing, entry-level homes. And the reason is because the inventory on those homes is much lower than it was in previous years. There are actually 10.4% fewer entry-level homes this year than there were last year. That low supply and that price point is driving up the prices, and we're seeing a lot of really high appreciation in that 125, 150 and below price point here in our area, just because there isn't a lot of it out there. So I mean, if you look at any of the major cities, and of course Pensacola is not a major city, but if you look at a lot of the major cities, when you go into what they consider their workforce housing, they'll have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14% appreciation, and then you go into what's considered not necessarily luxury, but a little bit kind of like second, third homes. They're down around like 2 to 4%. So when you average all that out, we're at about 5.5%, 6% nationwide. But there is huge appreciation down in that workforce housing because there's not a lot of it out there. So if you're new and you're searching the MLS or you're searching REOs or you're sending out letters, you really want to try to focus on, even if you've got private money, even if you've got access to money, your early deals should really stay in that workforce housing because that's where it is a little bit easier to move those homes quicker, recycle your capital, move it into the next deal, because sometimes the higher end deals are a little slower to sell. Not always, there's anomalies, and we've had some here that have sold very quickly in the high end, but we want to stay in that entry level house.